All right. Thank you, everyone, for being with us this evening. It is with great pleasure that we are coming together for what I believe is a historic time. Of course, if you have not met me, my name is Ruby Powell Dennis. You might be familiar with my voice. I previously ran for State House for District 97 earlier this year and was a part of the blue wave that we've been working so diligently to build here in the state of Tennessee. And so thank you for making time this evening to join me in what I believe is the next step and one of the most important steps Democrats across the state can take, and that's supporting Kate Craig for the Tennessee Democratic Party to be our chairwoman for this upcoming election cycle. And so a little bit about Kate. She's the current chair of the Washington County Democratic Party and also serves as the chair of the 1st Congressional District under the Tennessee Democratic County Chairs Association, which, if you're not familiar with politics, that's the group of folks who governs all of our party chairs across the state. It's a subgroup of that. And so she served on the committee that founded the TNDP Rural Caucus. She is the chair of the TDCCA Social Media Committee and serves on the TDCCA Bylaws Committee. For the last 3 years, she's co-chaired the Tri-Cities Women's March, and in 2016, managed Nancy Fishman's Tennessee House District 7 campaign. She founded the Washington, D.C. chapter of the Dykes on Bikes and has volunteered with the Human Rights Campaign, the Victory Fund, Emily's List, Running Start, the Anti-Defamation League, and Planned Parenthood. In 2008, she earned her master's degree in public administration from American University in Washington, D.C., along with a graduate certificate in women's policy and political leadership, and graduated from American University's Campaign Management Institute. Y'all, it is with great pleasure and just full-hearted support that I introduce to you my choice, who I believe is the next person to lead our state party, Kate Craig.
Thank you so much, Ruby. I greatly appreciate your support. And so let me see if I can switch this view here. That way, there we go. And so we're all getting used to new technologies here. All right, so change is coming. And my name is Kate Craig, and I'm running to be the next chair of the Tennessee Democratic Party. I was raised in Northeast Tennessee. I went to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama, and played trumpet in Science Hill High School's marching band. Civic responsibility has always been very important to me. You see, every election day, my mom took me with her to vote. In 2003, during my senior year at East Tennessee State University, I began my political career. I organized a statewide walkout and voter registration drive, coordinating with all of the Tennessee Board of Regents schools. The Tennessee legislature had just slashed the higher education budget, leaving students with a heftier financial burden just to earn a degree. So I organized the walkout and voter registration drives to give students a voice. In December of 2008, I earned my master's in public administration from American University in Washington, D.C. While there, I also earned a graduate certificate in women policy and political leadership and graduated their Campaign Management Institute. And like Ruby said, in 2010, I founded the Washington, D.C. chapter of Dykes on Bikes, and for years led the Capitol Pride Parade. But on July 19th, 2013, at 12:15 in the afternoon, a white Lexus SUV hit me while I was riding my motorcycle on my way home from work. This moment forever altered the trajectory of my life. To date, I've had 14 surgeries to address the injuries I sustained. I intimately know how cumbersome the hurdles and red tape are when navigating the healthcare system. I understand what it means to worry about affording necessary medical care. And that experience was with good health insurance, care I wouldn't have received without the Affordable Care Act. The scars from my motorcycle accident molded me into a tireless advocate for disability rights, accessibility, as well as healthcare reform. In 2016, I moved home to Johnson City, where I managed Nancy Fishman's campaign for Tennessee House District 7. In 2017, I was elected to serve as the chair of the Washington County Democratic Party. We rebuilt the county party from the ground up by going back to the basics. In the first year, we adopted a mission and vision statement, passed a 2-year strategic plan, designed a logo and launched a website, established monthly meetings, developed online record keeping and organizational stability, and passed a Washington County-based platform where we took the DNC platform and localized it. We also entered the Jonesboro Days 4th of July parade for the first time, and we won the award for the best overall float. Our theme was the Lorax. Finally, we identified all of the local allied organizations, and I made it a point to attend their meetings, to show up for their events. I made it a point to earn their trust. During my second year in office, we pushed even harder on our fundraising. In 2018, we raised over $15,000, surpassing our goal of $10,000. We did it by expanding our donor base through house parties, and we had a blast. Live music, delicious food, and the drinks were flowing. Democrats came together and we created community locally. Closer to Election Day in 2018, Trump came to town. So we organized a demonstration where Democrats lined the sidewalks to show what we believed. 1,500 Democrats held posters stating that they believed in public education, affordable health care, women's rights, LGBTQ+ rights, unequivocally stating that Black Lives Matter, environmental protections, living wages, common sense gun laws, and love. That year, we'd also work closely with Bredesen's coordinated campaign. We organized canvassing events and phone bank twice a week. By the end of 2018, we had 3 Democrats serving in local office, and we had the highest increase in Democratic voter turnout out of all the counties in Northeast Tennessee. In 2019, I was reelected to serve as the chair of the Washington County Democratic Party. Thanks to intentional recruitment with our allied organizations and community members, we elected an executive committee that was white, Black, Latinx, male, female, trans, straight, gay, young, middle-aged, older, single, married, divorced. Some were parents, grandparents, students, people in the workforce, others who identified as disabled, veterans, and retirees. To quote WCDP Executive Committee member Dr. Julia Bernard, representation matters, and I couldn't agree more. In 2019, I was also elected to serve as the chair of the 1st Congressional District for the Tennessee Democratic County Chairs Association. I developed and taught a 5-day campaign training program for candidates and campaign staff graduating 11. I also held quarterly meetings for county party leaders in the 1st Congressional District. These meetings included trainings on fundraising, messaging, and vote builder. At the beginning of 2019, the Washington County Democratic Party passed another 2-year strategic plan with even more ambitious goals for growth, fundraising, candidate recruitment, and voter outreach. We set a goal to raise $30,000 and raised over $31,000. That year, we also held our inaugural State of Franklin dinner. Speakers included James Mackler, Representative London Lamar, and Representative Gloria Johnson. All 120 tickets were sold. We also worked with the Tennessee Young Democrats to launch the Washington County Young Democrats chapter. And we brought on 4 high school age students to help with the county party as interns. In 2020, I taught another 5-day campaign training program, graduating 9. We also held forums for voters to get to know the Democratic candidates running in the presidential primary, inviting 9 representatives from the campaigns to speak. As COVID-19 closed everything down, we decided to spend the money we'd allocated for an office to directly support candidates instead. So we purchased 1,150 Biden-Harris yard signs from the TDCCA and gave them away for free. This effort boosted local Democratic morale and grew our email list by 500 new contacts. We now have 1,100 Democrats on our email list. We ran 2 ads in the Johnson City Press and 3 ads in the Jonesboro Herald and Tribune. We had 5 digital ads running on 7 of the digital billboards in Washington County for 21 days. 134 Washington County volunteers delivered yard signs, door hangers, called voters, text banked to turn out the vote. On Election Day, 5,190 more Washington County voters voted Democratic as compared to 2016. During these 4 years as chair of the Washington County Democratic Party, I've raised $66,000, spearheaded a 10-fold increase in membership, had a 300% increase in social media engagements, developed relationships with local allied organizations. We doubled the number of candidates running for office and taught candidates how to run campaigns. We provided on-the-ground support and energized voters. We moved the needle 5 percentage points over the last 4 years. There's no reason all county parties can't be moving the needle in this fashion. During this time, I also served on the steering committee that formed the TNDP Rural Caucus and oversaw the TNDP Rural Caucus 2019 statewide survey. I chaired the Tennessee Democratic County Chairs Association Social Media Committee, and I serve on the TDCCA Bylaws Committee. And for the last 3 years, I served as co-chair of the Tri-Cities Women's March. We can't win in places we don't invest. We can't win without a 95 county strategy. We can't win without a vision or clear message. We can't win if we continue to use the technologies of the past. We can't win when we don't embrace our values. We need a Democratic Party that is ready to lead through innovation and grassroots organizing in Tennessee. The Tennessee Democratic Party should not only be a resource for county Democratic parties and candidates, it should be a training ground. It should proactively provide resources to help county parties take those crucial next steps with voter outreach, fundraising, and to open doors for candidates that are on the ballot. The TNDP should be registering voters and growing our voter base. We need to build relationships and stay in contact with our new 2020 voters. And we must build coalitions with our allied organizations so that we can work together toward our shared goals and missions. In June of 2019, I was in Nashville for TNDP's 3-star dinner. It was the same weekend as Nashville's Pride, and I was incredibly excited. So I went to celebrate with my LGBTQ+ community and allies. But as I stood there watching the parade go by, I couldn't help but ask, where was the Tennessee Democratic Party? I've noticed the same absence when it came to Black Lives Matter demonstrations over the summer and protests that have been organized in an effort to stop Governor Bill Lee's voucher bill. Lack of trust is at the root of the most common types of feedback I hear when I speak to Democrats across the state. And we have to be humble enough to hear that, because if we won't hear that, we can't know where we're starting from. We can't build a solid foundation. We can't build lasting change. Tennessee Democrats deserve a state party that will fight for them. Democratic candidates and county parties deserve a state party that will link arms with them to help them achieve their goals and win on election day. Not every county party will have the same goals, but the TNDP can help each county party take those next steps. The TNDP can help Democrats push toward wins on election day and in hard districts move the needle, making that investment for future candidates. No candidate runs as a sacrifice. Every race is an investment. Washington County is a red county that is trending blue. We have Democrats serving in many of the local governments within Washington County, such as on the County Commission, the Jonesboro Board of Mayor and Aldermen, and the Johnson City Board of Education. We understand the investment of growing the bench. The successes in Washington County can be replicated across the state. I've been back in Tennessee nearly 5 years. I've seen what can happen when we invest in the changes we want to see. We get Democrats elected. We make meaningful change. As the next chair of the Tennessee Democratic Party, I know how critical it is that we focus on growing the bench, implementing a rural strategy, increasing investments in blue districts where candidates are merely hundreds of votes away from crossing the finish line, improving targeting for voter contact, registering new voters, identifying and maintaining contact with the new 2020 Democratic voters, adopting a successful fundraising strategy, having a unified message, early candidate recruitment and training, building relationships with our allied organizations, and through a 95 county strategy, empowering each county party to take the next steps with candidate recruitment and voter identification. Throughout this campaign, I will be traveling to all 33 of Tennessee's state Senate districts to meet with the TNDP executive members, county Democratic Party chairs, key stakeholders, leaders of allied organizations, and Democratic voters. My name is Kate Craig, and I'm running to be the next chair of the Tennessee Democratic Party. I'm running because I believe in this strategy, because I've seen it work to get Democrats elected, and because I know Tennessee Democrats are ready to get to work. Already, my campaign is energizing Democrats across Tennessee. Imagine what we can do with this momentum over the course of 2 years. 2022 is ours for the taking, but we have to start now. Thank you for joining me this evening. If you'd like to volunteer, use the link posted by Jordan Huffman in the comments section, and I look forward to speaking with each of you on this journey. Thank you, and have a wonderful evening.